Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's hope that this live stream's working. It might not be. It probably isn't, because I'm terrible at this kind of thing, but I'm just going to assume that it is and see if anybody joins in with the chat. So welcome back everybody. We're having a bit of a bullish week, and I think we're going to have a few more bullish weeks to come, perhaps maybe a couple of bullish years. So for the moment I've been, some people would call it shilling, I suppose. I've been shilling XRP. I'm not a massive XRP fan, trust me, I'm not one of those guys, but there's always been a place in my heart for XRP because it did me so well in the past. I basically, if anyone knows my story, very briefly, I bought a modest amount of XRP when it was very low in price, and it went bonkers, and it was the biggest amount I've ever made off anything, to be honest with you, by far. Which is why there's always been a place in my heart for XRP. But you know, given what happened to it last year, you know, it's not like I fell out of love with it, but I moved on to other things. But just recently, my attention has been sort of reignited, basically, by looking at the chart and spotting something from it. So, yeah, you could class me as being part of the XRP army, but I'm part of many armies. All right, so I don't want to. You know, I'm not emotionally attached to anything. It's a chart, and that's all I'm attached to. I'm a chart. If anything, the only thing I'm attached to is the moving averages, the MACD, the RSI, and the Ichimoku cloud. They're the only things I've got attachments to, really. I don't have attachments to projects or coins. Or when people tell me, "Oh, it's a good project," it means nothing to me. You know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Yeah, projects. These sort of things mean absolutely nothing to me. It's just these wavy lines, these reds and greens. That's all that it means to me. Nothing else means anything at all. So, that said, let's have a little look at what's been going on recently then, shall we? So, obviously, I've just dropped a video on XRP, so we don't really need to see that. We don't really need to go into any more details on that. Sorry, people are just texting me, sorry about this. I'm still technically on call at work, which is ridiculous. So yeah, let's have a look at some other coins then, shall we? Unless you want me to go through the whole XRP stuff. Hello everybody, welcome back. I can see my Telegram group is joining me. Sorry, obviously I'm running low on energy here, so let me just have a quick sip of tea and a ginger nut. Hang on a minute. For those of you who are not British, you probably don't know what a ginger nut is. It's a biscuit. Right, let's have a look. Right, so we'll have a look at Harmony then, shall we? We'll get off this Ripple business, shall we? We don't need to go into any more details on Ripple. Unless, of course, you've joined in to have a look at that, which I'm sure probably a lot of people have, because I've called this like a Ripple chat for some reason. Because I've realised just recently that Ripple is where the views are. I'm selling out, by the way. Right, let's have a look. So, Harmony 1. Daily chart looking really good actually. The next target, hang on a second, let's have a look, see if we got that golden cross we've been waiting for. Yes, we did. Yeah, so we got the golden cross. It's pretty much in the bag. I would call it confirmed tomorrow, but there's pretty much, it's very unlikely that this is ever going to be avoided. The most British thing you'll ever have is tea and ginger nuts. That is right, absolutely right. Yeah. So yeah, back onto this. Harmony 1 got its golden cross on the 12-hourly. So basically, the 12-hourly chart is more or less finished with now. Breaking up to 821. Would that lead us up to the more or less to this guy here? So between 810, 820. Which is where we recently peaked up here, is going to be the next level. So it's pretty much going at fig rolls. My toddler loves a fig roll, and to be honest with you, I'm quite partial to them too. But I daren't eat them because that's one of the only things that I use to pacify her, to get her to do things when she's being naughty. So they're pretty much all reserved for her. But yeah, off the biscuit chat, back onto the Harmony One chat. So yeah, it's as simple as that. The 200 EMA is where we're at. That's our target. There's going to be peaks and troughs with this, because I've noticed when Bitcoin dumps and the market dumps, we do dump quite hard with Harmony One, but it recovers every single time to make a new high. So it's going from strength to strength. Looking quite high now on the RSI, but it's not really too much of a problem. It's the highest it's ever been. To be honest with you, it's the highest it's ever been on a daily chart at the moment. But I wouldn't worry so much about that. But I would think about taking profits at this level here, just for its initial pullback. Because I take profits, and again, I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice. But I would think about taking profits around about 800, between 800 to 820, depending on how daring you are. And then at that point, I would wait for a pullback and then probably get back in it, to be honest with you, really. Breaking up above there is what we're seeing with all these other alts. Breaking up above the 200 EMA and staying above there is our next level of support, which needs to be held, and then probably we'll see some really, really big, bold moves. So Pepe on the Telegram chat could quite easily be right. This one could be making incredible sized moves. The volume's picking up. You could class this generally still as the accumulation period, because if this does go bonkers, if this does hold above the 200 EMA here, there's no reason why we can't get back up to our all-time high, which is right up here. And let's give that one a brief measure move. It's a 300% move, so that's a 3x from where we are right now. Not too bad. I wouldn't sniff at that, to be honest with you. Red Lobster, mate's my favourite biscuits. That sounds a bit too posh for me. If you can't buy a cheap version of it in Aldi or Tesco, then it's probably too posh for me. You know, in Britain we get brought up on biscuits. It's like a staple diet. It is pretty much part of your everyday life. So you can't be eating posh biscuits every day. So you end up getting a taste for the cheap ones. Right, let's have a look at BAT then, shall we? Everyone wants to look at BAT. Let's have a look at BAT. Sorry for the yawn there, guys. Tired, man. Really tired. Not a custard cream, Chris. No, not a custard cream. Maybe a bourbon, but not a custard cream. You know, no one needs to go that low. Right, so BAT, bold, golden cross. Next resistance point would be. Let's say we're going to need a blue box in this because it's not as cut and dry. Let's have a look. We're currently at support from previous areas, which would be a resistance level. Let's measure this out. Yeah, where we are right now, if we have a look, and I mean literally right now, is the resistance to be broken. We basically were rejected here before we went boom right up there last year, and when we came down we were supported here until we went boom right back down again. So it's actually a really significant area that we're at right now. So that's 31 to we can call it 33, a resistance box. Once that's broken, if that can hold above that area, then yeah, we're looking for big moves on BAT. Again, I don't know anything about the technology, but the chart speaks for itself. The chart has got a golden cross that took place yesterday. This was a big rejection from this. So our first attempt to get into this blue box there, rejected. Yesterday rejected with a spinning top on it, which is an indecisive candle, but everything looks very bullish on it right now. So this is the indecisive wick. This is our third attempt to get into this area, and depending on if it can hold or not, we couldn't really say. right now. It could just be rejected from here, but the market doesn't look like it wants to be rejected. I think we're going to be at the mercy of Bitcoin. If Bitcoin decides to dump, then these also will all dump. But I would expect that, however, if this does dump, it would dump down to the 10 or the 10 simple or the 9 exponential, bring it down to maybe as low as 28 cent, and that would just basically be you just got to buy that back up. And I'm not your financial advisor, it's not financial advice. This is what I would do if I was to be trading back. If we were to break down, we wouldn't break down any further than 28 cents, and we would be buying that straight back up for another attempt to get into this area of probably the biggest level of resistance that we saw since about 22 and a half to 23. That's when I started to get interested in this one, and I bought a load up at 23 and a half. So yeah, it's pretty much as simple as that. It's a bullish chart. Everything on it is bullish. It's probably one of the most bullish of the cryptos out there, because it's got its golden cross already. So we're pretty much good to go, but we are at significant resistance. So like I say, this one needs to be broken, breaking up above 32 or 33, and a confirmation above there. So a daily candle body close above that level, or even above this level where we're chipping away at right now. To be honest with you, that would be good to go. 31.5, but realistically, I'd be more comfortable in saying 33. A candle body close above 33 would to me be confirmation. So you get a daily close above there, maybe even another one, and we should be making big moves on BAT. Let's have a look at what else we got here. BTT. So I was loving BTT earlier. I moved out of this into Ethereum basically, where pretty much I've stayed, but should have stayed in this one because it's gone bananas again. This is one of the first small cap coins that I noticed a really decent level of accumulation. So similar to that of one, this was like a much better version because of the volume was really high. So we had accumulation all this period, and then we launched. Pretty much this is where I bought it, and we launched, and yeah, I pretty much sold it off of here. Why is the chart looking all weird? The chart's gone all bloody weird there. Either way, on this one, let's have a look at a different time frame on a 4-hourly, because this one's definitely going up, and it's going up quite constructively. Let's see if there's any kind of there's no sort of, to me it's not very clear as to where it would come back down if there was a pullback. It's above the 200 EMA now on the daily for the first time these couple of days, so that's probably why we've had this big push and spike above it. Let's have a look on the 12-hourly. That's had its golden cross ages ago, so really it's kind of just playing out that golden cross at the moment, and now we've broken above the 200 EMA. So this is the sort of thing that you want to see with we've been waiting for with one. So one is where BTT is. So this is the equivalent of where one is at the moment, around this level. So one's got a move similar to this to play out, probably if the volume picks up, that would be. Now for this, let's have a look. It looks like it's about to start to make some really big moves, because obviously we've got the golden cross, it hasn't played out yet. This level here is where we launched from last time. So let's just measure this boy out from here. So this is a little bit rough for you guys. We're kind of talking about pretty much where we are already in a way. Just a little bit higher, and we could be looking at making some big bold moves. If we can hold above this level here, which is 0.00060, breaking above there, holding above there on a daily candle close, should then start to see even bigger, bolder moves. I'm not saying that this is going to happen. This was last year. This was different. Everything's different. Things are similar, but it's different. This chart's going all weird. But 0.0006, breaking above there, holding above there, and confirming that would be a support is going to be bullish. This, you know, I've been bullish on this since we bottomed out. Not since we bottomed out, since we confirmed accumulation, really, which is around this area. So I have been bullish around this area, and I've been bullish ever since. There's a few things I don't like about this coin, but there's a lot of things I like about the chart. And I remember this playing out last time, and it looked very constructive. So we might start to see things like this happen again. I remember this is where I was trading it before. There was plenty of times to buy in and cash out. It was very well stepped. So the thing you've got to be careful is you really need to basically buy and sell at appropriate times, because it pumps and it dumps. So look at these ladders that we had here on this move up, and it was this seemed to be one of the most attractive things about the coin. I mean, I don't know anything about I know what the token's used for, and there's a bit of a rubbish use case, to be honest with you, but there's an enormous circulating supply. Total supply is just unbelievably massive, which is why the value is so low, I expect. But generally speaking, it can make some big moves despite all of that. So if we saw on the 4-hourly chart, which is how I was trading it before, this is last year, this is when it started to make really big moves. We have big steps up and steps down, steps up, steps down, and I was trading it on the 4-hourly chart, basically looking at the green 50 exponential moving average. Was one of the better ways to trade it, and making sure that we always stay above it on these pullbacks. Let's zoom in a little bit further and we'll get rid of some of these other indicators because they're not really relevant. You can trade this simply on moving averages, to be honest. So yeah, we made our big step above it here. So being launched from the 50 simple, the 50 exponential, coming down, launching again, coming down, launching again, coming down, testing it. So this would be an area to buy it at, because this is what it was always being respected on the 50 exponential. This is what it did last year, and I expect it will do the same again when the big moves start to happen, so you'll have plenty of time to get in and out. So respecting the 50, launching from it, coming back down, launching from it, and then when it took a big tumble, you know, came back down to test it, launching from it again. And then this was the big bold move, and then when it finally broke down beneath it, that's a telltale sign to get out. That's where your top was, and then we fell back down. So let's look at it in the same respect now, and let's bring it to the forefront. So yeah, we're looking like on the 4-hour, the same kind of patterns being respected, launching from the green 50 exponential, coming back down to test it, launching from it. So yeah, we're pretty high at the moment. We're very high. It could obviously go a lot higher, but the next buyback, to be safe on this one, because it does pump and dump, would be to come down to test the 50 exponential moving average, and that should be your opportunity to get in at what would be considered the next decent buying opportunity. So it means you have to get your moving averages on there. It's the 50 exponential moving average that I would expect to be respected the most. Don't go FOMOing in on big bold moves like this. Wait for it to come back down, and if you really want to be safe, wait to see how it reacts to the green 50 exponential moving average. That's how I would trade this. That's how I traded it before. That's how I trade it again. But it's bullish. So buy it if you want to, but I'm not your financial advisor. It's not financial advice. As far as, you know, targets concerned, I couldn't say, but it looks like most things are going to be recovering quite well this year, maybe even doing better than they did last year. But small cap coins like this are really hard to say. I couldn't really tell you, but that's how I would trade it, because first and foremost, I'm a trader, so I would trade it in that respect. Celer. So Celer's pretty much doing the same as One from what I saw. Making some decent moves today. They're more or less moving in the same way, Celer and One, from what I saw recently. The charts look very similar. Let's go to a daily to start with, shall we? So, long accumulation period and launch. It's bullish. I mean, the next target would be 617. Obviously, same as One. You trade this on its moving averages on the daily. Its target is trying to, just like everything, is trying to get up to and above your 200 EMA. Expect a rejection from there. Pullbacks, I can't really say when something's so bullish on this. I mean, everything's very extended on here, and this one has been very high in the past. and it's basically a bearish chart. I mean, it's one of the IEOs that comes out and just dumps ever after. It's like the worst thing you could ever expect to see on a chart. Really, something just comes into fruition and just dumps. So really, now would be the very first time we're really truly looking at a cycle on something like this. All I can say is we're going to have to wait to see when it gets to 620 and then pulls back from there. And when it breaks above there, we're bullish. I can't really go any further on that one for you. Let's have a look. We have a cross all the way back here, actually, on the Ichimoku Cloud conversion baseline cross. So since there, we've gone up 66%, which is enormous already. So that doesn't give you a target. That just means we're going to have continuation from there, and we certainly have had continuation from there. They're both the blue and the red are both steep. They're both pointing upwards. They're not facing down, so it doesn't look like it's topped out or anything like that. So it looks good, but I can't really give you any more insight into this one. MATIC then, should we have a look at MATIC? MATIC's always an interesting one to stare at. And again, MATIC's one of those ones I do have an emotional attachment to. Let me have a quick sip of my tea before it gets cold. It's the problem with doing a live stream. It's like a one-way conversation with myself, so I end up just talking. You don't ever have a chance to sip any of your tea. So MATIC's messy, right? It's a real messy looking chart. So we had a golden cross over here, and we loved that, but then we died. We never had a death cross, so we've got nothing we've got no specific signals really. When we're talking about this, we'll go down to some lower time frames, see what they look like on a 12-hourly. So the 12-hourly did get its a golden cross back here, so that, in a sense, was your signal to get up on and ride this one up here, but there's nothing other than that, because the daily, it avoided the death cross, so we've basically been bullish since this one here, despite all this happening. So it's a matter for me now of support and resistances. So we're in a giant resistance cloud, hence why we're looking so messy. It might take a little bit of time for this to work its way out and start to look a bit more constructive. And you can see this giant wall just end abruptly over the period of a couple of days. That's going to be the 25th, between the 24th, 25th, 26th. So about within a 3-day period, this wall, if we're not out of this cloud within that time, this could be the opportunity for it to launch with a lot more ease. The be all and end all of resistance really, for me, is the 2.7 cent region, which is where the top of this cloud is, but it's also where I've had this marker in from before, because this is where we rejected from here and here. This is what I expected to see. I wanted to see an accumulation period last time this golden cross happened. I wanted to see an accumulation period between 2 and 2.7 cent. We didn't get that. We went straight through the 2, straight through the 2.7, and then just topped out here and just died basically. So maybe we can get a decent accumulation period within this zone between 2 cent and 2.7 cent. And if we do get that, then it might end up being a decent year for MATIC too. But the dumps on MATIC are scary, and I think it scared me away from the coin, to be honest with you. It's definitely scared me away. I mean, I was lucky to get out more or less out at the top, and those on my Telegram group, the vast majority of you were lucky too. And when we spotted that, we respected that, and we were, let's just face it, we were very lucky. We didn't let greed get the better of us, and we actually sold at the top. And there's not many people, I don't think, can say that. And we were lucky in that respect, because look at how bad it could have been for us all. So do we really want to be involved in a coin that's capable of doing this kind of move? Me, I'm not really feeling that, to be honest with you. There's so many more opportunities out there with other coins that don't do this kind of thing. And look, if you think Bitcoin couldn't do this, I mean, you're kidding yourself. It could do that. Of course, all cryptocurrency could do that, but MATIC has proven to us that it does it in spectacular fashion. So I'm not very keen on trading this one anymore. In fact, every time I get tempted, I have to have a quiet word with myself to say, there's a lot of risk carried with this trade. Do you really want to do that? And most of the time I say, yeah, you're right. And that's me just going off on a tangent and probably looking like I'm a maniac having a conversation with my shadow about should I trade MATIC, but you've got to do that sometimes. Right. What else should we have a look at? Please have a quick look at XRP. With pleasure, my friend. With pleasure. Who would have thought that I would have switched over my loyalties so dramatically from MATIC to XRP, the two polar opposite types of coins? But I have. I've switched over. So, the long story short, if you've not seen my video yesterday or the one I dropped today, we've basically been consolidating for a 2-year period, which is basically why we underperformed massively last year, is because essentially that pump that we had last year, along with the rest of the market, didn't break out of this area here, which is the descending trend that I've plotted out here very crudely on the weekly chart, where we couldn't break out of. So a 2-year period of consolidation, including the entire of last year's bull trend for the entire crypto market, we didn't break out above it, so we underperformed. We came up to it, we were ejected from it on 2 weeks, but we came back down and we didn't break out of it. So what does that mean now? It means that for the first time in 2 years we've broken out of that descending trend, which means I am very, very bullish on this on the long term. We've not confirmed it, but we're about to confirm it, probably next week, a fresh Ichimoku cloud cross on the weekly, which is a very, very powerful. That's extremely powerful. That means that we're going to get continuation from this week going forward. So let's have a quick look, because I don't think I've mapped this one out actually. So yeah, we had a cross here to the down here to say that there'll be a continuation of the move down, which is what we got here, and the chart doesn't go back any further for me to. Oh yeah, yes we do. We have a cross here to the down. So the cross took place here. The price action, we'll measure it from the candle body to be generous. We don't need to measure it from the wick. Or should we go from the wick? No, we'll go from the body. We don't want to over exaggerate the move. So from there to the bottom, that was a 65% retracement from that level, continuation from that level down. So a 65% continuation of the move down from that itchy cloud. So I would expect to see, I'm not talking about 65% to the move up, I'm talking about a lot bigger when there's a cross of this. This is a retracement of 65%. If you're buying here, these levels are all very, very likely to be taken out over the next couple of years. So it's extremely bullish. We've got this itchy cloud cross, which means we're going to have continuation from this candle forward until further notice. So I would expect at least a few months of bullish moves from XRP, and if it's going to do what I think it's going to do, we're probably not going to get a cross to the down for the best part of maybe into the summer. We'll see how the market looks, because it is going to respond to the market. If the market decides to drop down, then XRP will drop down with it. But the chart says to me that a 2-year consolidation period has been broken. So let's go to the smaller time frame. The small time frame shows us that we're above all major moving averages. The crosses are beginning to form. The golden cross is probably over a week away at this price action now. We're being rejected from here these last 2 days. So that's the 34 cent mark. So 34 cent appears to be a decent resistance for us to break through. Has that got any significance in the past? A little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. So historically there's reason for us to be rejected from here, because we've been rejected from here last year several times. When was this? This was May. So yeah, we're on the verge of making some really big moves, I think, with XRP. But the 34 cents seems to be a decent resistance that we need to break through. So what I would wait and see is if we break through there and we can be supported above there on a daily candle, we'll be making our next big moves up into the 40 cent region. But we want to see this area of 34 cent broken and supported from. And then maybe if you're looking to buy in, you could buy in at that point. Once this has been confirmed, that means a candle body close above there, for at least a day, and then you could buy in there for the next big move up. Or we could wait for a pullback Maybe a pullback as low as, well, we've had it today, didn't we? 31 cent was your pullback today. That might have been your opportunity to buy in before this area gets taken out. But we could pull back there, no problem. XRP likes to pump and dump. The RSI is quite high, but that doesn't bother me anymore, RSI being high, you know, because RSI gets high on crypto. We all know that RSI loves to get high on crypto, so it could push through this tonight or tomorrow. I think it's unlikely. I think it needs to cool off. But the weekend's coming. The weekend's bullish by nature most of the time, so we'll see where we go. But 34 cent is clearly a resistance, and then that would be the next area of support for the big leg up into the 40 cent areas. So the next real area of resistance, I'm looking for around this area. 37 cent should pose a bit of resistance, but other than that, probably looking for about 40 cent flat. Those are my targets. Yeah, so breaking 34, move up to 37, then straight up to 40. Those are the areas of short-term resistance. But we are at resistance now, so don't be surprised if we pull back at this level. We could do, and we are doing already. So that's where we go with that one. Where's the next top for Ethereum? So Ethereum, my biggest holding actually. I've been holding Ethereum now for a couple of months. And thank God for that, because it's outperformed what I expected. So it's done very well. So here we go already. We've obviously got our golden cross taking place. So this is a reaction to that. It looks to me that we could be making a huge move anytime soon. RSI is huge on this, massively overextended. It wants to pull back, it kind of has to pull back, but levels such as $320 would be my next target. Realistically, $320 would be my actual next target for Ethereum on this one. We could be topping out now. I think we probably are having a bit of a temporary top at the moment, but 320 would definitely be my next target. And then once that's taken out and supported, then I think we could actually be seeing something close to a parabolic move. But we'll just have to wait and see. That is my next area. So I think we're at our top at the moment. I don't think we're likely to make that push up to 300 or 320 quite yet. I think we need to have a pullback from this level now. Might even have a retracement. Maybe not down this far, but it could do. The worst case scenario would be coming back down to 244, but I doubt that's going to happen. I think there's too much involved in this one now. The sentiment, the acceleration, the volume, everything about it means that it's if it does come down here, it'll be bought straight back up, and it would only come down here if Bitcoin decides to dump. If Bitcoin holds at its current level, the alts will keep pumping. And then I think what will happen eventually is that the money from alts will flow back into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin will pump. But for the moment, this is a bit of a prolonged alt season, and some of these top cap coins have done extremely well, very unbelievably well. I mean, I got mainly involved in this one around about 160, I think, is where my entry point was. So it's around about here. So I've already made roughly about an 80% gain on the majority of my overall portfolio, so I'm very happy with that, clearly, and I still think there's plenty of room to move on this one. So where do I think we're going with it with this? I don't want to say the moon, but I think we're going to be easily surpassing last year's all-time high very soon. I mean, we're getting very close to it now. As far as actual supports and resistances, 400 appears here to have been an area of support, so I'd say 400 will probably see resistance at 400, and you know, thinking 400 won't be seen soon, it might be a little naive. I think we're likely to be coming up there in the next couple of months, to be honest. The rate that it's going, the rate that everything's going right now, we just have had our golden cross at this point now. We had a golden cross back here, this price action here, so let's bear that one in mind as well. Let's be realistic about it. So if we had a golden cross at this price action last time, we only moved up 47% from that area. So we had our golden cross here on this price action, on this candle here. So if we this isn't the way to trade, by the way. 47%. It would only reach us up to our top actually. So it's mimicking in a way, many ways, the same sort of levels when the signals kicked in of last year, the same kind of levels that we are now. But this is a more constructive move than this one. This was a move with the market driven by Bitcoin. This is a move driven by Ethereum and the market. So there's a difference. There is a difference, and this one does look better than this one. This one is yeah, there's a difference to it. So I think the all-time high of last year will be taken out, and my next personal big-time target of this year would be about 400, and I'll be thinking of maybe taking the majority of my profits around there. But 320 is my next new target, and I think that'll be met reasonably soon, maybe within a couple of weeks. What else are we going to be looking at? Hi Bitcoin, you said XRP will perform a 30x regarding to his chart. Is this how you how long it will take to achieve it? I'm talking long term for the 30x on XRP. If I could blink my eyes and see a 30x, obviously I'd love that, but it's not likely to happen. I'm talking a 30x from the price it's at right now is my biggest target. So I think we could see an XRP of about $10 in about 2 years. So that would make it a 30x from where we are right now. XTZ. Let's have a look at that then, shall we? I think I'm gonna have to call this. Live stream. Call it short, to be honest with you, because I might have a few more followers on here that don't know my situation. But I've had a baby recently, so I'm running on empty tanks at the moment, and sleep is probably a more valuable asset than cryptocurrency for me at the moment. So I think I'm going to have to leave it in a bit. So let's have a look at this. I can't chart this. I can't chart this one. All I can tell you is that it's bullish. You don't need me to tell you that. The chart is so small. Let's have a look on the Bitcoin pairing. Let's see if that's a bigger chart. There's not enough history on that one for me to. Yeah, and again, it's a very small chart. I can't really chart it. All I can tell you is that it's bullish, but you don't need me to tell you that. I don't have any supports, resistances, or anything at all on this one. I think when you see a pump of that size, if you weren't involved at the start, it's probably best to forget all about it. There's other opportunities out there for you, mate. If you didn't do it, I didn't do it. I don't beat myself up about it. I never saw this coming. I never even knew the chart. So, but yeah, when you see something like this happen, just think, well, that wasn't my time. It's bullish. I could risk it. I could FOMO, which is what you'd be doing. But just bear in mind that you could just lose everything. And be stuck in a coin that you don't necessarily want to be stuck in when there's so many other opportunities out there where their targets are clear and realistic, whereas this one is targets it's blue sky. It could do anything. I couldn't really say. I don't want to advise anybody on anything anyway, because I'm not a financial advisor, but me personally, I wouldn't touch this now. You've missed, I've missed, we missed the opportunity. So let's not worry about it. It's got more chance of coming down than going up, is all I'm going to say, because you'd be FOMOing. These people who are in at this level, they want your money. So if you start buying now, they'll take your money, and that's all I've got to say about that one. Right, well, to be honest with you guys, I'm just going to quickly sip my tea. If you do have anything else that you want me to look at, I'm very happy to do so. Thanks for the donations and the super chats, I really appreciate it. All those who donate to me in cryptocurrency, or just to let you know, it's not going into my pocket. It's actually going into I've got two little daughters. It's going into their long-term crypto fund, which they will be cashing out, one in 16 years and another one in 18 years. So that's where the donations are going, in case you wondered. I prefer people not to send stuff through YouTube, like super chats, because YouTube take a massive portion of that. You only end up with less than 60% of what you actually give me, so don't give YouTube the money. Give it to my little daughters. They appreciate it a lot more. In 18 years, who knows what that will have matured into, or it might have just turned into to dust. Who knows? But yeah, don't give it to YouTube. They're doing all right for themselves. You don't need to give them any more money with a super chat. Right, I think I'm going to leave it there then, guys. Well, thanks for watching. I really appreciate you joining. I will make more videos more frequently. It's just about getting the time to do it, you see. Very busy guy, but I will try my best to make videos on a nightly basis for you all, and maybe sneak in a little live stream as and where I can. Alright, take it easy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good weekend.